Good Monday morning. I hope that you had a really restful weekend, and I hope that you're ready to learn today something brand new. In math, typically things kind of build upon one another. So by the time you get to fifth grade, you've kind of already heard of most things or seen most things, like are dividing a decimal. You already knew how to divide. So all we did was add one little thing that was a little bit different, right? So today is actually something new. This week you are going to be practicing something called the order of operations. And it is new. It's not something that you have done before. What we do in fifth grade is actually the first building block is to what you're going to do in the higher grades. So operations are addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. That's what we do in math class, right? So the order of operations is kind of a rule that some mathematicians made for us to follow when we have several operations in the same equation. So say that you have addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division all in the same equation. We have to follow a set of rules to get the correct answer. So that's what we're going to do this week. We're going to learn those rules. We're going to practice those rules so that we can be successful. Okay, so when the kids get into class, I'm going to have 3 plus 8 times 2 equals 19 on my board. And they're going to sit and they're going to ponder, and I'm going to ask them, if they were to solve this, what would their answer be? Would they get 19? And I want them to try to figure out how I got 19. Okay, so that's what I want you to do. I want you to stop and think for just a minute and think, if you were going to solve this problem, what would you get? If you were going to solve this problem, how would you solve it, in what order, and what would you get? Would you get 13? If you did 8 plus 3 is 11. You would not get 13, just kidding. You would get 22 if you went just in order. 8 plus 3 is 11. 11 times 2 is 22. That is not the correct answer because we have a rule that we have to follow. Whenever we have multiple operations, we have a rule that we follow. And one thing that we say or we use in math class to help us remember that tool or that order is called PEMDAS. So it's PEMDAS, okay, PEMDAS. It means parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. I have uploaded a picture for you that if you can print it out, that would be great. If not, I highly suggest you writing this on a piece of paper because the kiddos in class are going to have this in their notebook, and they can go back to it on their 6 weeks test. They can go back to it anytime that they need it. So a great way that we remember the order of operations is the acronym, Please Excuse My Dear Aunt Sally. And I have a YouTube video that I'm going to want you to watch after this video, and it's a cool song that we are going to listen to every single morning so that we can remember this acronym, okay? Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Kind of like with division, we did, does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers? That's the same here. So we have parentheses, exponents, multiplication and division, and addition and subtraction. So the cool thing about fifth grade is we really don't do exponents in the fifth grade. But as you get into the higher grades, this is what they use, so I want you to go ahead and be used to seeing that, okay? So in fifth grade, we work with parentheses, we work with multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. So we have to follow this order in which we solve our problems. So I always start off by saying, is there a set of parentheses? No. Is there multiplication in this problem? Yes, there is. We have 8 times 2. So this is telling us that we need to solve 8 times 2 first. 8 times 2 is 16, okay? And then I always tell them, bring everything else down. You have a brand new equation right here, okay? Now we're going to do 3 plus 16 because we don't have division, we have addition to do. So 3 plus 16 is 19. So this equation right here has a certain rule that we have to follow, guys. So if you were to do 3 plus 8 and then times 2, you would be wrong. We have this rule that we all have to follow in math, okay? All right, so that was your first little introduction for order of operations. I would say to pause this video, and I want you to go to the song that I have uploaded on your Google Classroom assignment, and it is Please Excuse My Dear Aunt Sally, and it's a song, and I want you to listen to it. We'll probably listen to it a few times today because it's kind of fun. So I want you to pause this video, and that's what I want you to go do real quick. Don't X off because I still have more, but just pause it, okay? Okay, so is that a cool song? I liked it. So anyway, so now what we're going to do is we're going to practice some problems, okay? I'm going to remember, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. And if you want to put an X or a line through the E, that's fine. And if you have this next to you, it really is helpful. It tells you the first thing you're going to do is do parentheses. Perform operations within parentheses and or other grouping symbols. What it means by other grouping symbols, not signals, is brackets. Sometimes you're going to see brackets, and we actually solve everything in the brackets first, but we'll get to that later. Multiplication and division. The cool thing about multiplication and division is you perform multiplication and division in order from left to right. So sometimes I typically put like arrows like this, because multiplication and division kind of are interchangeable. It depends on which one comes first, okay? And then the same with addition and subtraction. If subtraction comes before addition, you would do the subtraction first, okay? So let's look at, I have 3 times 4 plus 8, okay? And I want to solve that. So do I have brackets? No. Do I have parentheses? I do. So I need to solve those first. What is 8 plus 4? 8 plus 4 is 12. I want you to bring the rest of the problem down and start back over. Do you have parentheses? No, you don't. Do you have multiplication? Yes, you do. What is 3 times 12? 36. So your answer is 36. Okay. Let's look at... in class, we've really discussed, I need to say this real quick, I'm sorry. In class, we've really discussed the different symbols that we can use for multiplication. And the symbols that you can use are parentheses, a dot, or the X. So I can say 5 times 4 this way. I can say 5 times 4 this way. Or I can say 5 times 4 this way. All of these symbols mean to multiply. So if you have a number next to a parenthesis symbol, it means that you need to multiply this number by whatever is inside of the parentheses, okay? And that dot, the reason why we use the dot is because in pretty soon we're going to be working with letters in our equations. They're going to be called variables. And so this X can get a little bit confusing, right? So I really want us to get used to using that dot there. Okay, here's another problem. Okay, we have 4. Remember what the parentheses mean? Multiplication. 4 times 2 plus 8 divided by 4. So the first thing that we do is we need to look at parentheses. There's nothing really to solve in the parentheses. That's just a 2, okay? So now we're going to go down to multiplication. Do we have a multiplication equation? Yeah, we do. 4 times 2. What is 4 times 2? 4 times 2 is 8. And then I want you to bring all of the other numbers down that you've not worked with yet. Okay? Keep it nice and neat. This is a requirement. You don't get to kind of choose whether or not you do this. You have to work them out like this. I require that, okay? I need to see every single step, and these little brackets let me know that that's what you got whenever you solved that operation, okay? So now we're gonna start all the way over. Do we have parentheses? No, and of course we don't have exponents. Do we have multiplication or division? We have addition and we have division. So division comes before addition. So although it may feel weird, we're gonna go ahead and solve 8 divided by 4. What is 8 divided by 4? 8 divided by 4 is 2. And then we bring down the rest of our equation, and now all we have is 8 plus 2. 8 plus 2 is 10. So this entire thing right here equals 10, okay? If you do not solve it in the correct order, you are not going to end up with the correct answer. We do not get the choice of whether or not we follow this. This is rules made way before our time, and we have to follow them, okay? All right, let's look at another one. I'm gonna do this one. This one's kind of long, so I hope you're paying attention. This one actually has brackets. So this one is a pretty long one for a beginner, but I really want you to see how we work whenever we have brackets. So I just kind of put the B up above the PEMDAS. And then I hope that you're still looking at this paper because it really helps. And if you want to put brackets right above parentheses, that's fine too. Okay, so first we're gonna look, do we have brackets? Yes, these are brackets. So what that means is we have to do the order of operations inside of these brackets first. So we're not worried about this at all until we have one number over here. Okay, we do not want any more operation symbols. So inside of the brackets, do we have parentheses? Yes, so we're going to solve those first. 5 plus 2 is 7. I'm gonna bring down the rest of my equation, and I am not done with my brackets because I still have an operation in there, okay? So I did 5 plus 2 is 7, and I'm gonna bring down my plus 6 because I've not worked with it yet. Now, I still have brackets. I have to solve those before I can worry about this. So 7 plus 6, what is 7 plus 6? 13, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. This is 13. Now I am done with my brackets. I'm gonna bring all of this down. Make sure that you copy it correctly, okay? So here's your new thing that you're going to solve. I like to go ahead and start at the very top. Do we have any brackets here? No. Do you have parentheses? No. Do you have exponents? No. Exponents, by the way, are the little numbers that that would be, you haven't seen it, so it's difficult to explain it, but it's when there's a little number at the right corner of another number, okay? This actually means 7 times 7, okay? This power tells how many times to multiply by itself. So this is called an exponent. Okay, just so that you know what an exponent is. But we don't do that in the 5th grade. Towards the end of the year, I kind of start getting into it. But anyway, we do not have exponents. What about multiplication and division? We have both multiplication and division. When you have multiplication first, that's what you solve first. If you had division first, then that's what you would solve first. Remember, these are whichever one is first from left to right. Okay, so 13 times 10 is 130, and divided by 2. We're going to bring the rest of our problem down. 130 divided by 2. Can 2 go into 1? No. Can 2 go into 13? 6 times 2 times 6 is 12. How many times can 2 go into 10? 5 times. So your answer to this big problem is the measly old 65. So do you see how nice and neat my work is? Do you see how I can follow and see what steps I worked out? My numbers are not smushed together. I'm giving myself plenty of room. If it takes you an entire page to work out one of these problems, I love that. When you try to squeeze it all in, guys, it's such a long process. You're going to get confused as to what you're doing. You have to use very good handwriting, and you need to work these out in a very ordered fashion, okay? All right, let's look at another one. So on the board in the class, I'm going to put 5 plus 3 times 2, and I'm going to do 5 plus 3 times 2. Okay, I'm going to put these on the board, and I'm going to ask, do you think that you're going to end up with the same answer with both of these? They both have a 5, they both have a 3, they both have a 2, they're both adding and multiplying. So knowing what we know about the order of operations, are you comfortable to say that they're going to end up having the same answer? I hope you said probably not. Okay, all right, let's look at this. Okay, we're gonna first work through this one, and then we're going to work through this one. We have to remember our order of operations. We have to go in a specific order, and I'm gonna kind of check them off. I'm gonna do my parentheses first. 5 plus 3 is 8. My parentheses are done. If I don't have an operation, I can drop my parentheses. Now I'm gonna bring down the rest of my problem. 8 times 2 is 16, easy enough. Now I'm gonna come over here. I'm going to work through my parentheses first. 3 times 2 is 6, and I'm gonna bring down the rest of my problem. 5 plus 6 is 11. So I got 16 and I got 11. Do you see how important it is to make sure that you're following the order of operations and you're not just solving these in whatever order you want? Because if you would have solved this one, 5 plus 3, then times 2, you would have gotten 16. Okay? And if we were going to write this out, this part right here, we would say multiply the sum, because we're adding, the sum of 5 and 3 by 2. Multiply the sum of 5 and 3 by 2, because that's what we're doing. We're finding the sum and then we're multiplying it by 2. Okay? On this one, we would say add 5 to the product, because that's the answer of a multiplication problem. Add 5 to the product of 3 and 2. That lets you know you need to multiply 3 and 2 and then add the product, and then add 5 to the product. Okay? You have to be able to do that as well. You have to be able to read a sentence and be able to make an equation. Okay? I'm kind of getting a little bit ahead of myself. Today's actually a very simple day, but I want you to be introduced to all of this. So today, your assignment for math is this paper right here. I'm going to upload it on the Google Classroom. Okay, and it says order of operations practice page. There's 6 problems to practice. It says when using order of operations, it's helpful to copy the problem and solve it step by step, which is exactly what I've been doing. As you perform each operation, transfer the unsolved parts to the next line. Okay, don't forget to perform the steps using the correct order of operations. So you're going to work through these 6 problems, and I need to see you working them like this. I need to see each line, okay? So I want you to work these. If you cannot print this, that's okay. Write it on a piece of notebook paper and then send me a picture of your work. Please make sure when you take a picture, I can see it. If I cannot see it, I cannot grade it. So make sure, I know pencils are sometimes hard. You may have to go outside in the sunshine and take your picture. Make sure there's not a glare. But that is your assignment for today, okay? Let me know if you have any questions.